Rekia, for that development. Now, joining us in the studio to throw more light on this new innovation in TVC News is the Group Managing Director, CEO of TVC Communications, Victoria Ajayi. Good morning, and thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, ma'am. Good to have you on the table.
Good morning, Emmanuel. Good morning, Nelson.
Let's address the biggest elephant at this time, talking about this AI. Now, won't this innovation be hijacked by people with sinister motives?
Okay, first off, thanks. I know you're very excited because you've been trying to interview me. So you get to interview me finally. And it's my first time on the breakfast show.
That's why we're glad to have you today.
So thanks for the question. So you talked about whether it would be hijacked or not. The fact is, new technology is always uncomfortable and it comes with fears. And when we don't understand something, a new idea or a new technology, especially when that new thing challenges our intelligence, instead of learning to understand it, we attack the idea. Sometimes we're just supposed to lean in. Whilst this will make us feel good for a while, it doesn't change the risk that exists or the fears that exist with that technology. Neither will that technology disappear. That is why the most important innovations in our lives receives the most criticism when they are first introduced. So your question is really about risk associated with this innovation. Are there risks with the use of AI generally? Yes. Think about it. Is there any technology without risk? The principal risk on a lot of people's minds is deepfake. Deepfakes now look real, and AI bots can now mimic a human's voice. That has been in existence for some time now. And for some people, they'll continue to use it. People will continue to use deepfakes for sinister motives. I think there are more criminally minded people in this world than good people. So the introduction of our AI anchors isn't going to stop people from using deepfakes. Or is it? So can our AI anchors be hijacked by someone else? Probably not. But can someone else try to copy, sit down and try to recreate what we have done and pass it off as ours? Yes, they do that already with our real anchors, which is why it is very important to note, and it's very, very salient at this point, that problems created by AI can also be managed with the use of AI. A perfect example of this is in education. With generative AI, the world of academia changed. Professors are now very aware that essays and theses, which used to be the main determinants of scoring undergrads and postgrads, can now be written by AI. As much as they ask students not to use AI, they can't stop students from using AI, or can they? However, they've now decided to pass the same essays through AI as well to check if those essays have been generated by AI. And when they are, those essays are flagged and rejected. So there's this saying that you have to think like a thief to catch a thief. And that's the basis of ethical hacking. So in our particular case, we've been introduced to a solution by the AI experts we're working with that helps us to identify deepfakes in an instant. And this is what it does. You simply need to feed a deepfake or supposed deepfake video into this AI platform, and it tells you, doesn't just tell you, it shows you evidence glaring to even an untrained eye that the video is deepfake. Isn't that great? So if we didn't venture into this, we wouldn't have known about this solution.
Indeed. It was pretty good for you to put that out there. So in the near future, when this happens, if it does happen, people would know that we already went a step ahead of them. We knew this was going to be. But this for us is revolutionary. It's groundbreaking. For TVC to be the first in Nigeria to go this route. Let me begin by asking you again, what actually prompted the idea of infusing this into our modern broadcast today?
The fact is, the future of broadcasting is here, and we cannot shy away from it, honestly. We cannot deny the fact that this technology is going nowhere. I said it in another interview that even Bill Gates has said artificial intelligence is one of the greatest, if not in the last 10 decades, it's the greatest technological advancement that we have and we still continue to have. So why are we going to shy away from it? And honestly, we're only scratching the surface when it comes to AI. Many industries are using it, and so we have decided to just adopt this small part. There's still other parts.
I'm sure there are still other parts to this particular project.
Yeah.
Now, some say that journalism is not just about information, but connection. What's your own reaction to this?
That's true. And you know, it takes me down memory lane. I used to be one of those who would just listen and watch in awe of certain broadcasters, the likes of Franco Lise and Cyril Stoba of NTA, you know, and sometimes I even know from their voice, you know, when they come on air. And, you know, back in those days, you know, it was 9 p.m. news or 10 p.m. news, you know. But unfortunately, these days, with the youthful generation we have, and you know the population of Nigeria, 70% of it are youths. They no longer sit down to watch 10 p.m. news, 7 p.m. news like we do. Where the older generation, yes, maybe, but they want bite-sized information, concise information, on the go, on demand. That's how they consume news. And it's only news that pertains to how it affects their daily lives. They only want to know, you know, how is that going to make my life better? How is that going to put bread on the table for me? That's the news they want to consume. And so, yes, whilst you say, you know, it's about connection and, you know, it's not just about information, because they feel the AI anchors can be robotic. And honestly, this is where we talk about some of the downsides of AI, using AI anchors. We have to be upfront about it when it comes to transparency about this. It has some limitations. It has some shortcomings.
We'll get to those limitations in the course of our discussion this morning. But I read on an article yesterday where TVC News was used as a case study for this particular development. So how do we bring in transparency, accuracy in all of this issue of AI anchors that we're talking about?
You know, in broadcasting, you cannot ignore trust, truth, and transparency. I call them the triple T's. And if we start with something like trust, the news, I've said it before, is not AI-generated news. The news is not written by AI. The news continues to come out from the newsroom. The bulletin editors, the reporters, the editor-in-chief still have a responsibility to vet, verify, and ensure there's credibility from the sources that we're getting. So when it comes to trust, it doesn't change anything because you're using the AI anchors. Remember, AI anchors, if I'm going to break it down to a layman, is simply an AI avatar which you have fed the news. It doesn't generate the news itself. So with trust, the newsroom still generates the news, and you're simply feeding it to this avatar, a proprietary one we have created for ourselves.
It's not that the avatar is sitting somewhere in the newsroom.
It's not sitting anywhere in the newsroom.
You can't see it anywhere in the newsroom.
Well, perhaps I should touch you. Check if you're an AI avatar.
No, it's just to convince the layman watching you out there. Because some will say, maybe the avatar is somewhere in the newsroom that we can see.
Absolutely not. It's not. It's right there in the computer, and what you're doing is simply feeding it with a script. And what we've really done is to start with just headlines, 60-second news. You asked me earlier, it's about connection, or is it about connection, or is it about information? Yes, this one is mainly about information given, because sometimes it's not really about, is it a Franco Lise delivering it, or is it, you know, Emmanuel delivering the news? I just want the information and I'm on the go. I'm very busy. I couldn't care whether it is Nelson that's delivering it, but what are the top 5 things I need to be aware of that's in the news today that may affect me? Is there traffic delays on the road? If I'm a sports person, who's playing in the evening and what's happening in the, exactly. I just want to know, exactly. I just want to know. So, and I'm on the go, I'm fast. I don't have that time to sit down to, whether it is you or anybody reading. That's where the information part becomes very, very important, you know, to all of this. And so, these are some of the things that you see when it comes to trust. Let's talk about the second T, which is truth. Now, I maintain as well that the news continues to be generated, you know, from credible sources. We do not and will not, as a responsible broadcaster, rely on news that is written by a robot, or or we depend on news that is generated by just anyone. No, we still maintain the fact that our reporters, our journalists who go out there and do the real work, provide that information, which we simply feed to our AI anchors. So when it comes to speaking the truth, it's still that. The robots cannot really do that per se. They don't have emotions, do they? AI doesn't have emotions. These are some of the things that we need to be cautious about. It's just about providing these headlines, giving the information, and moving on. I mean, that's where we are right now. We don't know where it will get to.
Okay.
AI anchors, let's talk about it. They cannot hold debates. They cannot do what we are doing right now. They cannot actually have conversations like we are having back and forth right now. And so, yes, it has its shortcomings. And so when it comes to, can it speak the truth, or can it tell a lie, or can it misinform people? Because there's a big thing about misinformation by AI. The misinformation is coming from humans, real humans, not AI. You feed in this thing. So it's garbage in, garbage out. So the misinformation is coming from humans. And the same humans can just sit behind their desk or wherever it is in their houses and just begin to give misinformation. They do that anyway. Netizens on the internet, they do that anyway. You don't need they need to wait for an AI anchor to do that. Do you see? So when it comes to speaking the truth, it is still the responsibility of newsrooms like ours to ensure it is fed with to feed the AI anchors with accurate information that speak truth to the people.
And talking about responsibility, let's talk about pairing innovation with governance and responsible journalism. Now that we have this invented, should I use the word invented, and you've spoken robustly about the fact that it would still lie on truth. It would still be the groundwork of journalists, reporters, producers, editors who go out there to get the real job done. Where lies responsibility then here at the end of the day between what we will do as professionals and what the viewer would get from AI?
And the delivery of AI.
Absolutely. Okay, so that speaks to the last T of the triple T, transparency and responsibility, because it's all about us you cannot be accountable if you're not transparent. And for me and this project, the only way for us to be accountable to the viewers is to be very transparent. When we're delivering AI bulletins or bulletins read by AI anchors, it should be evident. It is the only responsible thing to do. You would be able to spot it, just as you saw earlier in that Yoruba bulletin and the Hausa bulletin. On the top right-hand corner, you have the AI sign. Secondly, you would notice that when they introduced themselves, it said, I am AI anchor this. I am AI anchor. The responsibility and onus is on us to ensure, as you start to read the news, just so people know what is real from what is
fake.
Yes, not really fake, but what is AI and what is real. The onus is on us to state that. So even when you see the bulletins all around it, apart from the fact that you can tell sometimes, that I know that sometimes they look real, but you can tell even from the movements, and sometimes, like I said, they don't have emotions. There's no empathy. So if you're talking about something very, very sad, we haven't gotten there yet. I know.
Let's take a pause at the moment and see one of the AI innovation that we have in TVC News. Particularly, let's talk about that Yoruba coming from, I didn't do
AI anchor. AI anchor Olajumoke.
AI anchor Olajumoke. Take a listen to this development.
Omi àgbáyé lẹ́bàá etí ikú Malta, wọ́n sì fi ẹ̀sùn kan Israeli pé òun ló wà lẹ́yìn ìkọlù náà. Nípa eré ìdárayá, àwọn ẹgbẹ́ bọ́ọ̀lù Gẹ̀ẹ́sì Manchester United, Tottenham Hotspur àti Chelsea ti wọlé sí ìparí eré Europe. Èmi ni Jùmọ̀kẹ́, akọ̀ròyìn AI fún TVC News. Èyí ni àwọn ìròyìn pàtàkì lónìí. Àmọ̀ràn òfin fún olórí ẹgbẹ́ àwọn ènìyàn abínibí ti Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, ṣe ìbéèrè tó jinlẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ ẹlẹ́rìí àkọ́kọ́ fún ìjọba bí ẹjọ́ rẹ̀ lórí iṣẹ́ ìpaniláyà ṣe ń tẹ̀síwájú ní Àbújá. Ọkọ̀ amúkó epo mìíràn tí ó ní lítà 60,000 ti ṣubú ní ìpínlẹ̀ Jigawa. Èyí ni ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ karùn-ún ní ọdún kan ṣoṣo. Ilé-iṣẹ́ àjọ ìmọ̀ ẹ̀kọ́ gíga ti orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ ìwádìí lórí àwọn gígé owó tó lòdì sí òfin láti ilé-iṣẹ́ Nigerian Educational Loan Fund.
Well, AI Olajumoke there in the Yoruba version. Mrs. Victoria Jai, you're still here with us in the studio this morning. So how can the ordinary man on the street see all of this? How can they get connected to this?
So right now we have TVC News Yoruba, TVC News Pidgin, TVC News Igbo, TVC News Hausa. Just search, you would see that it will come up. And even as soon as you see that on our social media pages, on YouTube, because those are the places we'll have it for now. Like I said, the people we're targeting are the young ones. They already use AI. Okay. And so we cannot stop them, or we cannot stop the AI revolution. No matter what we do, we either jump on it or get left out. That's the fact. And so these things are on our social media pages. Even these bulletins are not replacing the bulletins you currently have on TV. Okay. These are for a different set of audience. And just let's take the Yoruba bulletins, for instance. The moment it was posted, within a few hours, it already had over 5,000 views. Yes. It had lots of comments already, and people saying, this is great, this is beautiful. This is the barrier you're breaking when it comes to languages. One bulletin transcribed or translated into 4 other languages in less than, 2 minutes. And we are able to reach a diverse range, of people. So you'll find them on our YouTube page, you'll find it on our social media pages in those respective languages. But the moment you search, you'll find those bulletins. So for now, that's where you can go.
I have 2 more questions for you. What are the potential risks in all of this? And is this also a threat to my own job?
Is it a threat to anyone's job? I think I keep saying it, that AI and humans are meant to coexist. They are not mutually exclusive. It's not about machine or AI competing with man. No. And so we need to be very, very careful. It's meant to complement the work that humans are doing. And so let me just do something. Imagine, right? I would like both of you to imagine a newsroom where routine tasks and heavy resource-driven tasks are handled by AI, which frees you up as journalists to do real and deep investigative work, right? So you don't have to do those routine tasks. Imagine a newsroom where journalists are able to, get on with work that truly, really matter, like having difficult conversations that are uncomfortable with certain people in the society. AI cannot do that. But you can use AI to free up certain other tasks that enables you to do public interest journalism. Also imagine a newsroom, just imagine, where a reporter goes out on the field, comes back, and the video, proprietary video that has been captured by this reporter, let's use an example, a building collapsed somewhere in the city, and that video is fed into AI. And you know what the AI platform does? It analyzes the entire video, picks out things even the anchor did not see, the other things around the environment, spots lots of patterns, and then comes up with a script to say, you know what, this is what I have discovered, and I would write a script very quickly, the one for various social media pages, because the way you write for different social media pages, it's different. You write for a website very differently. So an online editor for a website is different from someone who writes for Instagram or Twitter or Facebook or even WhatsApp channel. So AI quickly does all of that scripting from your own proprietary video. AI did not create that video. And then AI goes on to tell you, you know what, can I recommend or can I suggest 5 other instances where this same occurrence, remember I said a building collapse, has happened in the city. And then AI, comes up with, look, in the last 1 year, 5 other building collapses has happened. Do you want me to draft questions for stakeholders, for the government, for the regulators on why this shouldn't happen anymore? Can you imagine how much time that has freed up for the journalists?
Indeed.
So absolutely. Imagine a newsroom with such AI prowess. It's meant to complement what you do. And so the future of broadcasting is here. You do the deep investigative work and let AI do the mundane.
And very quickly before we let you go, because of time, the spontaneity of this would, of course, cement our slogan, first in breaking news. And under your leadership, Madam CEO, TVC has evolved through quite a number of firsts. If I would go personal with this, how do you feel about all of this?
For me, it's not really a personal thing. It's just about ensuring we're not a media house who gets left out in the next media revolution. Can you imagine if you're a CMO, a marketing director, and you get left out in the biggest marketing opportunity, right? The future of AI is here. Are there risks? Yes. But does that make us want to stay away from it completely? No, because the risk will continue to exist, just like in any technology. But is the technology going anywhere? Absolutely not. So how do I feel? I'm glad we've done this, but there's still a long way to go with this technology, and we just need to embrace it in a responsible way. We need to ensure we're very cautious about it and continue to set the pace in the industry.
For us, this is backed by NBC.
Well, yes, we did inform the regulator. We can never do anything. It's new, it's novel. So we did not want to do this without informing the NBC. So we did inform the NBC, and they are aware of this.
So what next after AI anchors for TVC News?
Many other things.
You don't want to
many other things. You don't want to. You don't release your secret source to the world, do you?
So TVC is leading, others should follow.
Absolutely.
Well, under your leadership, this is it.
This is it. I must say congratulations to you and to the team.
Thank you very much.
GMD CEO, TVC Communications, Victoria Ajayi, many thanks for joining us on the program this morning. I must say Ajayi Square, because I'm also
yes, you are Ajayi, indeed. But
yeah, Emmanuel, you got that.
All right, we just have to go on this break, and when we come back from the break, the sport guys are ready to take us on a sport ride. You do not go anywhere. We'll be right back.